Hi, Andreas. You and I have known each other for many, many years, and we've both witnessed a lot of changes in the mobile industry. And of course, we've played our parts in those changes over that time. But for those of you who might not know you as well as I do, could you just say a few words about yourself, just as an introduction, please?
My name is Andreas Morawietz. I'm working for Giesecke & Devrient based in Munich. And I'm working actually since quite some time with G&D. And that's the reason why we both have met so many times in the last years. So actually 22 years with G&D. You might remember about these activities back in 2006, 2007, where we spoke about a high-speed interface to the SIM, where we already talk about the idea to have a 1 megabyte of memory. And everyone was scared about what should I do with 1 megabyte of memory. And then actually I was kind of dealing with a new form factor of a SIM, which was called a solderable SIM. So you solder this one onto a board, which was a very important requirement for the automotive industry because of vibrations. And because of such kind of solderable form factor, we took the call from the industry to create a solution which fits for solderable SIMs during that time, which was the requirement to separate the hardware logistics from the software/subscription credential logistics. And since 2009, actually, I have the honor to work on the topic, what we call eSIM management, to evangelize it since then and talk about these new future and the new role of a SIM in a digital world. And today, globally responsible for G&D software and solution strategy, which covers all the remote services, maybe SIM and device management, maybe eSIM management of credentials into various environments, from consumer devices, automotive, IoT, up to manufacturing lines.
That's really great, Andreas. If we look at the SIM card, it's really played a pivotal role in digital mobile telecommunications ever since G&D brought out the first one, which I think was back in 1991. And I guess I must be getting old now because I was part of the standardization effort back then. And I've always held G&D in high regard all throughout my career. And whenever I was working on new SIM technology solutions, I would always reach out to G&D to help me. And most recently with eSIM technology, which of course replaces the plastic SIM card with a downloadable digital version of the same thing, it's starting to get some real traction in the consumer market. Could you say a little bit more about the role that G&D has played in the industry with SIM and now onto eSIM technology throughout those years? And where do you think things stand today, and what can we expect next in the consumer world?
So we actually started this whole journey of eSIM management back 2009, and we founded actually a company during that time together with Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, and Vodafone, which allowed us to bring in, on the one side, the requirements from MNOs, on the other side, the requirements of a SIM industry to really make such a digitization of a SIM highly secure. Back in 2011, we demonstrated the first live eSIM download, and during that time, we already worked with MNOs such as AT&T or Vodafone. We worked with device vendors, tablet vendor, and we also worked with our competitors to integrate them into this end-to-end journey, because it is really important to show and demonstrate and realize the commitment towards interoperability. That is what makes eSIM really work. Today, we're operating roughly 260 MNOs in our eSIM management environment. We have downloaded roughly 120 million downloads towards mainly consumer devices, which is a really, really big number. The real experience and the real value is the expertise and the experience you gain with that one. It is the highly motivated teams, the environment which make that happen with our GSMA certified data centers around the globe. It is the first, second, and third level teams which interact with our consumers. And you also asked me, where are we today and where will we go towards? We started in the early days with a first specification where we have seen eSIM management mainly in the M2M arena, which was called the SGP02 specification. It's still called like that. Over the time, we realized we need to address an enormously large number of devices, like in the consumer case. In IoT, we talk about billions of devices, and this specification is not really designed for such a large number of devices. And that's why we all together under the guidance of the GSMA, created a specification which is called the SGP22, addressing consumer use cases. Over time, we have seen that this specification has proven his technical capabilities, reuse them for IoT-ish use cases. And we call it the SGP32 specification currently, which address the need and requirement of the IoT players, IoT service providers, or OEMs. And even to think one step further, because do not only see devices in field, we also seeing devices to be provisioned with consumer/MNO credentials during manufacturing. So such kind of suite of specification, a family of specifications designed for a really high volume of devices, but still keeping the security very, very high. That is the fundamental breakthrough for our eSIM management technology. And when I take a view on how many devices are we actually addressing, then I would like to very briefly call a number from the GSMA intelligence. And they spoke about 850 million eSIM-enabled smartphones or smartphone connections by the year 25. And they project about 6.5 to 6.7 billion by the year 2030. That is an enormous number. And we need to have the cooperation and the support of all the players. We need to have the suitable technologies. And we also need to take a look onto the device/user journey within all these processes. And beside this eSIM management, there's also a need for the proper configuration device/user journey service. And one of these services is called the entitlement service. The entitlement service makes sure devices, backend systems are properly provisioned within this journey of eSIM management.